And we are live. Another edition of the Mecca of Banter podcast. Actually, I should say Christmas edition because Christmas is in 2 days.
Yeah,
Merry
bro.
Christmas, fellas. Happy
We should have worn
holidays.
sweaters tonight. What were we doing?
We should.
The whole squad was unprepared from the start here.
Just from the get-go.
We really should have. That's a good shot by Henry there. But no, I'll be your host tonight, Bucci Main. Just wanted to wish all you guys Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of our listeners. We appreciate you guys constantly putting up with our banter, having fun with us on the podcast. So we want to wish you guys a very happy family time over the next couple days with your loved ones. And we got a great episode tonight. There is only three of us, myself, my boy Dobes, my boy Hen here. I'm going to get to them here in a second, but we're going to be three bruvs being blokes, giving our best knowledge on all of this fantastic footy we saw over the weekend. Real quick, let's see how these guys are doing. Dobes, how are you, sir?
Fellas, let's just say Thursday, Connor, looking at this weekend, could not have been more excited. College football playoff going on, United going on, going to the Mizzou game. The college football playoff sucked, United lost, and Mizzou lost. And also, Scott Hansen didn't say no more commercial-free football yesterday, so that also was terrible. But I'm here, fellas. I'm here. I'm here to talk United. All I want for Christmas is one normal day as a Manchester United fan. But we'll see, fellas. It couldn't have been like a worse group to be on with tonight, a Liverpool fan and two United guys. But here we are, boys. Let's rock.
I mean, it could be worse if you were, and I love you, Hoove. If you were Hoove right now, I think it could be worse.
Yeah, but Hoove just beat us too. Like Hoove beat us 4 days ago.
Yeah, he would have had some things to say for sure.
Yeah,
that's true. But also, I'm sure our boy, little Lucas Winkleman, I'm sure his butthole's pretty puckered after Saka's injury, which we'll talk about. So, we're gonna have a conversation about that. But Hen, how are you, my brother?
Oh, I'm fine, bro. It's such a weird time to be a Manchester United fan. Like, I woke up this morning and was still just kind of like dumbfounded from the weekend's game. And I looked at the fixture schedule and I was like, we just got to get through 2 more games before the transfer window opens. That's it. That's all I'm looking forward to, because I think as soon as January hits, there's going to be some movement. We're going to see some action happening. And I don't think the rest of the season is going to be pretty by any means. We'll talk about it during our segment, but it's a weird time. Weird time.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect leeway into the first thing we're going to talk about, which is Manchester United versus Bournemouth a couple days ago. Obviously, surprising result. It was at Old Trafford. Bournemouth won 3-0. I want to get your guys' take on the game. You were talking about the January transfer window. Maybe you guys can kind of talk about who you want to be coming into the club in the next coming weeks. Who do you think Amorim will look at, But obviously very surprising. Whichever one of you guys wants to let it rip, we're ready.
It's weird to say, but it's like it's surprising and it's not surprising at all with the state of the Manchester United squad right now to be losing 3-0 to Bournemouth. Now, we'll get it out of the way. Bournemouth's played really well this year. They've been organized. They've taken their chances where they can. We can't defend set pieces to save our life, so no surprise that we let one up there. But, Bournemouth is, as much as we like to say over the last couple of years to play, like Bournemouth, tough place to play, tough team to play. This year they are a tough team to play. They've taken some points off some top teams. So it just never feels good when you lose 3-0 at home to anyone, especially a team that you feel like you should beat comfortably. But such is life right now. I think we're really seeing such a different taking over of this squad than what the previous managers had, meaning like no new manager bounce whatsoever. But I'm almost thankful for that in a way, because a new manager bounce and a couple of wins can really mask all the issues that are really happening at United. And there are plenty of them right now. So surprising, but equally not that we lose 3-0.
Yeah.
Honestly, fellas, this was one of those games I watched. Madison's family had her family Christmas on Saturday, and so they all stayed the night. And Sunday morning, we all do breakfast and stuff. So I went over there, and it's one of those where I tossed the game on the TV, right? And nobody else there has a single clue what's going on, knows how much I care, knows et cetera. And all I hear in the kitchen is Madison just be like, "Oh my God, nobody talk to him. Nobody go over there. Nobody go over there. Oh my God, it's 3-0. Oh my God, nobody go over there. Nobody go near." And it's just like one of those things where it's like, it's like it's week after week of inconsistency. It's one step forward, two steps back, and we've seen that under Ten Hag. We saw that under Ole. We're seeing it now under Emery. We've seen it under basically every manager. It's kind of this one step forward, two steps back, and I think the crazy thing is if you take the lens out a little bit and you look at the Tottenham game as well as the Bournemouth game, like bar individual errors, we deserve to win both of those games pretty comfortably, in my opinion. Like, yes, I know Tottenham gave us a couple goals in terms of Fraser Foster's error, but at the same time, like we're creating really, really dangerous chances in dangerous areas, and we're just not clinical enough. And that's no excuse for the mistakes that we've made on set pieces or the way that we've conceded so many different weird ways. But we just are not clinical enough, and it's the players that you need to be. It's the Bruno Fernandes who missed probably 2 point-blank chances, one in the first half, that if you go into halftime 1-1, it's a whole different ball. It's a whole different ball game. So I don't know, man. I think you're right, Hen. I think I don't think there's going to be any instant fix. I think we're going to be active in January, and the Rashford situation is what it is. But I think that this is the time where we're going to see what type of balls Ineos has in terms of, are they trying to make an instant fix, or are they going to force Amarin to kind of ride out the rest of the season? Which, if that's the case, it's going to be a very long one.
Yeah, if we have to ride the rest of the season out with this current squad, it's going to be bad. I think with any new manager to get the tactics that they want down, it takes a certain kind of player, certain level of IQ. Yeah, like we look at, while the change from Jurgen Klopp to Arnie is very different in how they control the game and the tempo. You could say a lot of those Liverpool players have significantly higher soccer IQ. From what we've seen, they're able to adapt and change and do something different and kind of create a new muscle memory. Whereas these United players, I mean, especially the ones that have been here for years and years and years, like they've played one way, which is counterattacking and do kind of what you want, the hero ball. They don't know how to do anything else. And so you're seeing a lot of players that in my mind are just getting really exposed of they don't have the IQ to adapt. Now, there's a reason I think why the standout performers over the last couple of weeks, Amad Diallo or Manuel Ugarte or, De Ligt, Mazraoui, like some of these guys are able to adapt and change, but you have some guys that are really struggling in this new system of where to go. Garnacho being we called it out a couple of weeks ago on the pod of Garnacho looking pretty lost in this system, like doesn't know to run in behind, doesn't know to come short, doesn't really know where to go. And he's been wasteful as well. Højlund, I will say he has, in my opinion, improved this year in terms of hold up play. He's done a really good job of getting his body in between the defender and the ball, holding it up. He just can't play 90 minutes every game. You just can't do it. And unfortunately, Xerxes in a 60-minute cameo can't do the same thing that Højlund can do. So there's a lot of things that need to change. But what's important, I think, as United fans, and I'm telling myself this like every day to get through, is that with the new system, there are going to be some players that aren't looking like they can do it right now that will become good in the system with time and with patience. I think, Kobe Mainoo's like a really great example where he's coming off of an injury. He missed several weeks. He's still getting back into full fitness. There's been a couple of games where he hasn't connected every single pass like we're used to him, or sometimes he's been too disjointed in the middle of the park, not knowing whether he needs to push higher or drop deeper. But that's to come. He's so young. He is so much ahead of him. And I think that's why Dobes was saying a couple of weeks ago that there's still hope for Garnacho to come good in this system, whereas Rashford, it's really clear that it doesn't work with him. So as we approach the January window, I mean, there's a couple names right off the bat that they got to go. I don't know if it's going to be January or the summer, or I don't know what kind of deals people are going to be doing for him. I mean, Lindelof would have been like the number one on that list, and he gets injured last game, and now, you can't get sold with an injury. So it's like, there's just some things that it's going to take a minute for this squad to clear out, because there's just like someone asked the other day on Twitter, or maybe it was Mark Goldbridge, I think it was his stream. Someone asked, like, would you prefer Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho over like Cunha and João Pedro? And it was like split. And I was just like, but Cunha and João Pedro both do the work on both sides of the ball. Like I would take them in a heartbeat because of what they can contribute offensively and also what they can contribute defensively. So I think that there's going to be a couple of signings that we make, whether it's in January or the summer, that may not be those big box office names. I think there'll be some of those too, but I think it's going to be a lot of hardworking dogs that can work a system and force some turnovers up the field and hopefully be more clinical.
And I agree. And I want to say too, like Manchester United right now, you're in 13th, but you're 2 wins away from being top 6. You're literally like 2 wins away from being 6th.
Yeah, but we've been saying that for weeks now, brother. Going into this weekend, we were 2 wins away from 4th if we would have won, but we keep dropping points. Like
you're absolutely right. But my question was going to say, you being that close to jumping up so many spots, I really think what Henry said is right, that you're a couple signings away. If they're quality players, usually most of the time when those quality players make an immediate impact and they're proven in the league, like a guy like Cunha would be a great signing for you.
Yeah, immediately.
He really would. He's a dog. He is a dude, and he's really good at the defensive side of the ball. He works his butt off. He would make an immediate impact.
Yeah.
So you're talking about you get 1 or 2 of those guys in, get 1 or 2 of those guys that you don't want out. That could turn around a little string of wins for you. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Yeah. You're that close, but let me ask you guys. Go ahead.
Our biggest issue is the fact that it's when you watch Manchester United play, there will be spells throughout a game where we see better football than I think we've ever saw under Ten Hag. The shape and the organization will be there. The way we build up will be there. We don't do it consistently enough. I think the frustrating part about all of it is the fact that all of the mistakes or all the goals we concede are from individual lack of quality. Mm-hmm. It's all individual lack of quality. Licha, who against Manchester City was fantastic. He comes out the very next game against Spurs, and his passing accuracy is like near 100%, but at the same time, he makes the biggest mistake sitting inside his own 6 and doesn't clear with his right foot, tries to clear with his left. Boom, it's a goal, right? You look at Sonny's goal, right? Maybe it's a foul, maybe it's not, but it's an individual mistake by the goalkeeper. So I think that's the most frustrating part about it. And I think that's where you're seeing Amram's frustration is the fact that some of these games, I truthfully think he's coaching 2, 3, 4-0 wins in terms of the chances that we're creating. We're conceding chances. We're conceding very little open play chances. Every single thing that we're conceding is coming from an individual mistake or a set piece. And that should be what you would think at a Manchester United is the most controllable things, right? It's set pieces and being able to make sure that individuals don't make mistakes. And I think that's the biggest nervous thing for me is the fact that I think when you look at signings that we need, it's like maybe like we need a left wing back for sure. We need a number 10 for sure, right? Are those 2 signings going to keep preventing these individual mistakes that happen in the box? Like that's my main concern is if we don't have the mentality to like, we're not going to replace this whole squad in January. We're going to maybe get 2 or 3 players that can make an impact. But if we keep making individual errors and the mentality is not there, like it's not going to get any better.
No, that's a great point.
I do wonder if we get those 2 or 3. Like I even think about, a left wing back situation. You look at Delo and Mazraoui, they've played almost every single minute of every game. Sure, Malacia.
And Delo can't do it, and Malacia can't do it either on the left. Like Mazraoui's serviceable there, but he's even better on the right.
Yeah, so I think that, I was talking to one of my buddies yesterday, and there's part of me that feels a little bit bad for Delo last year being such a consistent player, one of our players of the season, if not the player of the season. And this year he's had to play almost all of his minutes on the left-hand side because our other 2 can't stay healthy. He's not as comfortable there. And especially in the left wing back position, you're asking him to do things that he's not really comfortable doing. What would it look like if we have someone who is, a straight up left wing back who can play that position? Then you just give those guys rotation. Like, can they be more fresh, more switched on for every minute of the game? It's something that I think about, but you got to get rid of some of the guys that you can. You take what you can on a Christian Eriksen deal in January if you can. You take what you can on Casemiro. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to come in save.
Saudi.
I mean that's like your only hope. Like you just I don't know. Rashford, that whole thing is so confusing to me as well. Like there's just so much. And honestly, I'm hoping that next week it's all over and, we have clarity on what's going on. But, you think about that. Is someone going to come in for 40 million for him, or is it going to be 20? Is it going to be a loan deal? Like, I have no idea. I do think that in January we'll do some loans. The rumor mill on PSG's like Randall Colomwani for a 6-month loan. You know, we obviously saw his heights that he had at Frankfurt and played really well for France in the World Cup 2 years ago, but he hasn't exactly set the world on fire at PSG. He's looking for some minutes, and that could be a good guy to bring on to give consistency to that number 9 position whenever we know Xerxes can't do it. Or do we splash in January and get a big striker? I don't know. I just think that Ineos is still going to play this like cut cost, do what we can, these like little deals like we did under Ten Hag. Who can we get on a free?
There's rumors that I've been hearing that because Ineos is doing sort of that cut cost, is this whole Rashford thing sort of starting from them.
Yeah.
Second highest earner, right? Like, not producing. Do they want him out of the club? I don't know. There's just a ton of weird stuff that's going on with that.
Yeah.
We're a shit show from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Well, before we move on, let me ask you guys one simple question, and then we'll move on to the next game. Besides Rashford, if you could pick 2 players right now to sell the first day of the window, who do you guys want out of the club? I don't want to talk about players that you're going to bring in because we'll have a whole other episode or 2 before that even occurs. But who do you want out? Who do you want out?
I think Casemiro's one.
He's my top one. And then for me, is Luke Shaw. I just think that he's played so little football over the last 5 years, and you can't have like a consistent, like, it's like the idea of Reece James, like like we all talk shit on Reece James about how he like doesn't play, you know. Mm-hmm. That's Luke Shaw. He doesn't, and I would love him to be there, but he's just taking up a position at this point.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable though. Dobes, you got one more besides Casemiro and Luke Shaw that you would? Anthony?
I mean, he's there, but I'm just trying to think of value. Like you know what I mean? Like we getting rid of players, but also we need money. I don't know. It'd probably be Lindelof, but then again, he just needs to join with Jose Fenerbahce and just dude. I texted this in the group. That dude lives the best life of all time. He has played enough over the last couple of years and done well enough to where he's been around, but he always gets injured to where he's out 2 or 3 weeks and just seems like it literally is just like a locker room vibes guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
genuinely, yes.
Yeah, like that's all he's there for.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna move on to our next game of the weekend: Liverpool 6, Tottenham 3. Now, I know Hoov's not here tonight, and I told you guys before we started, I really wish he was because I want to hear like his thought on the whole game and what occurred, and it was a roller coaster of emotion, probably roller coaster of goals and turn of events. But if you look from a Liverpool side, obviously we've talked a lot about Salah, you know, and I know you guys don't like him. I want to point out 15 goals, 11 assists in 16 matches in the Premier League this season for Mo Salah. He's the first player in the history of the Premier League ever to have 10 goals, 10 assists, or plus 10 before Christmas.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
So he's on a record-setting pace right now. The only player that's ever done it in the history of the Premier League is Thierry Henry, who did it once, who had 20 goals, 20 assists in a season. I think Mo could easily achieve that. He was phenomenal. Soboslai was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I know, Dobes, that you were on your way to the big bragging rights game, so I don't know how much of the game you got to watch, but
didn't even know you guys played.
But Soboslai fantastic, Luis Diaz electric,
mm-hmm.
And then I got to talk about Trent's cross on the first goal.
Disgusting,
guys. That needs to be viral on every social media platform this entire week because that cross to Diaz to open the scoring was unbelievable. And there might be 1 or 2 other players in the world at that position that could even attempt that cross. It just reminded me of David Beckham.
I was going to say the exact same thing. The whip of the ball.
David Beckham.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. It just, the nostalgia of it was so beautiful. But it was
Oh,
like I
fuck
said,
yeah, that's sick. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Did you
yeah,
see
Did
it?
you
yeah,
see it?
It's so good,
yeah,
so good.
yeah, yeah.
But no, I mean, but when you look at this game, like I talked about how it was a roller coaster, right? And like I said, I know who's not here, but we got to talk about what the commentators were saying did make sense to me. And they said after the game, they interviewed Ange, and the guy asked Ange. He said, you got to be willing to adapt in a game like this, but are you going to adapt, or are you going to stick with your philosophy the entire time? And he was very blunt. He barely didn't answer the question. And then it went over to the USA Network studio, and I think Tim Howard was the one that said it. Tim Howard was like, to me, Ange seems very arrogant. He seems very arrogant. He doesn't want to change. And to win in this league, he said you have to be willing to adapt. Even Guardiola's adapt over the years. He went to a 3-3-2-4-1. He invented a new formation because he had to switch it up. But I feel like I did resonate a little bit with Howard, because when you look at the game, at one point, guys, it was 5-1.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a 2-1, 3-2, 4-2. It was 5-1. And Liverpool kind of let off the steam a little bit. Tottenham got a goal back, and then it's 6-2, 6-3. And you're sitting there going, holy shit. But they have a point that Spurs, and Spurs did not have their starting center backs. We can talk about that. That would have made a difference. I still don't think they win the game with Romero and Van de Ven. They don't win the game. Because I think Liverpool was that clinical, was that ruthless. We could have had 9. We really could have had 9 goals. So what are your guys' thoughts on the game itself, and like where
I want to throw up.
Okay. Listen, for once in your life, I've known you for 27 years. For once in your life, okay, just answer a Liverpool question for me. Just answer one, okay? And don't give me any bullshit, all right? I want you to answer honestly. Look at your face. Do you Hey, listen.
You got to ask your question carefully.
I know. Look,
you got to know what you're setting him up for here.
Dobes, let me ask. I'm being honest with you right now. Do you see a more complete team not only in the league but in Europe right now? Be honest.
Objection, leading the witness.
Answer honestly.
I think it's tough to find one, truthfully. I was trying to think of any team in Europe that I've seen be as consistent. I would like Barcelona to start the season, but they've dropped off over the last month. Like, I don't think there really has been. I mean, even Bayern Munich. I'm just thinking of the league leaders. Bayern Munich is not there. Madrid's starting to find form, but I think throughout consistency throughout the entire season, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, Liverpool's scary, man. The rate in which the rate in which Liverpool's scoring is disgusting. And I know it's like, lads, it's Tottenham type thing, but at the same time, like, that was never really a game. I did watch the highlight. That was never really a game. I don't know, man. It's, if you guys stay healthy, I think Mo Salah staying healthy is a huge one for you. I just think that the production and the rate he's doing at, it's just, we've never seen it before. And I think if he keeps up at the rate, it's hard to see you guys not winning the title, right? But it's more so if he stays healthy and he stays consistent, like, it's your guys' race to lose, to be honest.
Yeah, and that scares me, honestly. I don't want to be pulling a bottle job, but I would say, along with Salah, obviously I think he's the MVP, but to me, the guy we can't lose is Gravenberch. We can't lose him. Like, McAllister's fantastic, but what Gravenberch does on the ball, breaking lines and penetrating and being able to keep possession, he's world class. Slot has literally made him a world class player. And if he continues this rate, he's going to be sensationally important for the future project that Slot wants to create over the next 5-10 years, however long he's around. So we can't lose him. And obviously Virgil, I don't want to lose Virgil. I mean, Joe Gomez has been playing really well. And it's weird saying that because we've probably given Joe Gomez as much shit as Reece James on this podcast. But yeah, I think those are the big three. I think the other positions you can kind of pick and choose your replacements with what our bench is. But those 3 guys, and maybe throw Trent in there. But it's it's looking good. I'm a little nervous about the upcoming, as every team probably is. I'm nervous about the upcoming holiday
Fixtures. Yeah.
fixtures when you're playing every 2 days, 3 days. So we'll see if we can get through that healthy. We'll be in good shape.
I think Liverpool is just, the one word that I use to describe them so far this season is just suffocating. Like, it's just all the time. It's everywhere you look. It's coming from every angle, from every position. But to your point of, those couple positions you go down with injuries, there's people that can take their place, but they may not have a certain quality that starter has. So, you have your guys that can service in that sixth position, that kind of libero anchor position, but they may not have the line breaking passes that Gravenberch has, or someone can step into Trent's position, but they're not going to have that whip of the ball. It doesn't mean that they may not get an assist another way, but they're just firing on all cylinders right now. But I do want to touch on Tottenham for a second. You brought up the center back thing. I think Archie Gray is a dog. I think that he, for 18 years old, playing a center back position against the team that's conquered Europe, is not a small task by any means. And yes, he got 6 goals dunked on him. But I was watching that first half, man, and he's so composed, so calm on the ball. Went toe to toe with Salah a couple times, outpaced him, outthought him. I was really impressed with him, and I'm excited to see the player that he turns into, whether it be a right back, CDM, or maybe a center back as the new position that he is. I don't know. But Spurs are also scoring goals, bro. Like, they put in 3, and yes, it might be true that, they let their foot off the gas, but they're scoring 3 goals, but that's like Fraser Forster trying to give goals away for free. So I don't know. Like, I think that they're a little bit of an enigma. And I also think, like, with Ange, I don't know if it's really as rigid and not flexible as the media makes it out to be. Like, I mean, we think about like Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho will say anything with a microphone in front of his face. He doesn't care. But then when you see him like behind closed doors, or like you have that like all or nothing, behind closed doors with him, he always talked about how he'll make the media think whatever the media thinks so he can protect his players, or he can, take the thought off of them. And maybe this is Ange's thing where like he's just going to carry the weight of all of these, like, you got to be flexible, you got to be this. And now we're kind of seeing him call out some players, and that might be cracking a little bit. Mourinho called out a couple people as well, but I don't know. I just think that Spurs kind of have their guy. That might sound weird after just losing 6-3, but I just think that they have their guy. They just need better players. United's in the same boat. Like, I think that they have their manager. They just need better players that can play the system. They're nowhere near consistent. So I don't know. I think that Tottenham have a lot more issues to worry about than who's going to be the manager. I think Postecoglou is the guy.
Yeah. No, I do think he's a phenomenal coach, and he has a great track record with what he did at Celtic. And people forget that this guy managed the Australian national team for 4 years.
Totally. Yeah.
That's a big deal. You manage your home country. He coached them in the 2014 World Cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he knows what he's doing. He's got a fun style. We'll kind of see what happens over the next coming weeks with Spurs. And we'll have more episodes, and we'll love to hear what Hoove wants on his transfer window, like who he wants to see come into the club, who he wants out of the club, to maybe give Spurs that edge going into the latter half of the season, right? But
God, you think that you just got to hammer out some center backs if you're them? Like, you just got to find center backs. But like, what's weird about that defensive line, it's like they've never been able to be healthy at the center back position. Like, you think about over the last couple of years, like who has started in the center back role for Tottenham Hotspur. It's crazy. We were watching, the Atletico Barcelona game, and Longley, who now plays for Atletico Madrid, like started for Spurs for like a while on loan, I think it was. But like, how random is that? Like, they've just never been able to lock down that center back, and even sometimes the wing back positions, to keep them healthy for a whole season. So I don't know what's up with that, but I feel like every transfer window that comes up, Hoover's like, we need a center back. And it's like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. We do have some takes to talk through real quick before we talk about a little bit of La Liga. But Arsenal 5, Crystal Palace 1. The big news coming here, Bukayo Saka is going to be out 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. It was a bad hamstring injury, as initially feared from the Arsenal camp. I texted Griff, Dobes and I both texted Griff. I think that they're in trouble. I really do. I think when you look at what has happened with Arsenal this season, with Martinelli being so poor and Jesus so inconsistent, Kai Havertz is not your guy. Everything's gone through that right side. And if he's going to miss 6 weeks, they got to get through this tough fixture schedule. I really think Arsenal should be pressing a little bit of a panic button, and they should be buying somebody in January. Whether it's a short-term replacement or not, they need to get somebody in to replace Saka. What do you guys think about this Bukayo Saka injury and where Arsenal is here?
I agree with you. I mean, of course, it's Bukayo Saka. Like, he's one of the most electric players in the league when he's on his day. He's Arsenal's most important player outside of Odegaard, maybe the two center backs, in my opinion. I did watch most of this game. Arsenal were actually entertaining, to be fair. Crystal Palace didn't really have anything. Yes, they were missing Eze and a couple other players, but Arsenal were entertaining. And, Gabriel Jesus has sort of found a little bit of form here between the hat trick midweek and then scoring 2 again at the weekend. But I think you're right, Butch. I think there's no shock that he is that player that can consistently keep scoring at the rate that he is. He's in great form right now, but we've seen this from him before, and he always somehow finds a way to pick up an injury or lose form. And I just think it's one of those things. We've been saying it for what feels like years now. Like, the fact that Arsenal have not gone out and signed a proven number 9 or a relatively serviceable backup for Bukayo Saka in case he does get hurt. Like, it's going to bite him in the ass. And
Yeah.
I just think that, I don't know if you guys saw it as well. Raheem Sterling got hurt as well. Not that he's like a big piece for them, but at the same time, like, their winger options are, Ethan Nwaneri may have to play out there. Trossard's going to have to play a lot of minutes, and Martinelli's going to have to play a lot of minutes. And both of those two players are very inconsistent as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them try to do business in January. But at the same time, what we've seen from Arsenal is it's got to be the smart, right business. So we'll see. But I do think that they're in trouble just in terms of creativity and scoring goals for sure.
Yeah, I kind of think that this is the end of the title race for Arsenal. With him being out for the next 6 weeks, like that's so many games between now and then. Where let's say they tie each one of those games, that's so many points dropped, and they're not going to tie every single one. They're not going to lose every single one. They're not going to win every single one. But how many times have we even just talked about like their creation from open play and how bad and poor that's been this year? Granted, you can still beat a team with set pieces. That still happens without Saka, sure. But I think they go in January. Now, we were saying you'd think that they'd go in for Rashford in January. I don't know if they'd go in with a full purchase, but definitely like a loan to buy option. You would think that that's like a quick grab that they could do. Now, whether Marcus Rashford would be interested in going to Arsenal in January, I'm not sure, but you have to think that that's something that they're thinking of. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't if you were in Arsenal's camp, but yeah, you're putting a lot of weight on a very, very slim position. And I think this is the end of the title race for them.
Bro, their fixture list between their upcoming fixture this Friday and just to January 18th is Ipswich at home, away to Brentford, away to Brighton, Newcastle United, Tottenham, and Villa. And that's just to January 18th.
Wow.
They are in trouble, brother. Yeah. They're in trouble. And I'm with Henry. I think Rashford going there, I don't know if it would make much sense for Marcus at all. Like, if he's going to be a short-term replacement and Arsenal doesn't see him as a long-term project player, we were texting about it today. I don't think he fits. Like, he's so much of like likes to play with the ball in behind, play on the counterattack, run at defenders, and like Arsenal is such a heavy possession-based team. Likes to break teams down. Historically, Rashford hasn't necessarily played great in those types of teams or been his most successful. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they'd be dumb not to at least take a look at him, especially if he's not happy and maybe he just needs a chance. But
well, what's interesting is you think about that, and the only other team that we've seen Marcus play significant minutes in is England. And you think about like the last World Cup and the Euros, not this previous Euros, but the ones before that, like he didn't start every game. but there'd be a lot of times where they would possess the ball a lot. Then they would bring him on in like the 60th, and he was such a different flavor on that left-hand side because he could get in behind the opponents and just bring something different. And that might be exactly what Arsenal needs for the rest of the season. You know, you bring someone who's just electric and is willing to stretch teams like that maybe after wearing a team out for 60 minutes, that's what you do. So I don't know. Personally, I would hate to see him go to Arsenal. I don't know if they're, other than Liverpool, like if he went to Liverpool, I think I would actually like die. But seeing him in an Arsenal jersey would be really, really difficult to see. I think you see if he can go to Spain, go to Italy, something like that.
Next, real quick, Chelsea 0, Everton 0. This is in my opinion, this is a big 3 points lost for Chelsea.
Totally.
Or 2 points. Throughout the game,
they got diced.
They got diced, and you could tell the minute the game started, because I had both games on the screen yesterday morning. You could tell they were sitting back in that 4-5-1 Everton was, and they were just defending with their lives. And
holy shit, possession was 75-12.
75, dude. They got diced. And Nick,
expected goals was relatively close, though, to be fair.
Yeah, and I know Nicky's not here to defend himself, but you got diced, brother. The big bald man diced.
577 passes to 152.
Shit.
Ooh.
No, but this is a big 3 points loss for Chelsea, and the commentators kept saying
it. 100%.
They kept saying it. They said, teams that win the Prem, they find ways to win these games. When you're on the road to a team that's in the bottom 5, you know what style they're going to play. You got to find a way to break them down, and Chelsea could not break them down. And even the chances that Chelsea had, there was no huge, like, oh my gosh, moments in the box or whatever where Chelsea just missed or whatever. They did not get many great chances to score in this game. And credit goes to Everton. Credit goes to Dyche and his players because they executed a game plan. And they came out with a huge point that's going to keep them above the relegation zone for the time being, heading into the Christmas period. So
I was going to say, bro, Chelsea have scored in every single game going all the way back to October 30th. So credit to Everton, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. Huge credit to them. And it's great for Liverpool because, we still have a game in hand on Chelsea and we're 5 points clear and we could go 8 points clear if we win that game in hand. So, and then our last little Premier League take here. Man City dropped points again, and I have it quoted from Hen, Grealish is cheeks. He's big cheeks, bro.
Oh, bro.
So Manchester City at Villa this weekend. Villa's a great team, very well coached team, but still no response. They still looked poor. Their players just look, I don't want to say uninterested, but they look nonchalant.
They look
defeated.
I like the word
nonchalant.
Completely defeated.
Nonchalant.
Yeah.
They do not look eager, hungry, motivated. And now nine losses for Pep in his last 12. This has never happened, obviously. So we're all kind of in shock. Grealish is cheeks. De Bruyne has been cheeks. Haaland is booty cheeks, bro. Ghost. You gotta talk about. So we were playing COD the other day, and Dobe sent me this stat about Haaland, and it was mind blowing. What
was that?
I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up.
I could try to find it, but I don't even think, dude. This City doesn't even deserve to be talked about with this game. This game was Morgan Rogers' game for me, fellas. Like he was. Every single time that I feel like I get the chance to sit down and watch Villa, he impresses me like no other. And this game was no different. The fact that I didn't know he was actually at City. That was a crazy stat. That was a crazy thing that the announcer said. But that run that he made, going basically the entire length of the field, just bypassing City's old folks' home over center midfield was unbelievable. Was unbelievable to watch. But you said it. I mean, City looks like a team that doesn't have that is playing without confidence, and I know that Haaland is one of the biggest freaks we've seen in terms of scoring goals. But I think what we've seen thus far is that they don't have anything else. Like they truthfully don't. They've tried to play one way, and this is my critique on Pep a little bit. Nobody's been saying it, but it's the fact of City have lost, 9 of their last 10 games or all these games in a row. And every single time that I watch them play, and you can say, yes, they're missing a few key players. Yes, they're missing this, but they play the exact same way every single time. Like, he's tried to change nothing. He still goes out and tries to keep the ball against some of these good teams. And when you look at a team like like Aston Villa, who has such an athletic midfield, if City doesn't have the legs in the midfield to ping like they used to, and Haaland's not that outlet, like, Villa just suffocated them on the press and hit them on the counter 2 or 3 times and were extremely dangerous. And we've seen that for the past month from City, that teams can do that to them. And Pep hasn't changed anything. He's tried nothing different, which to me is one of those reasons is it doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, I guess, can you do it without a Ballon d'Or win in your squad? Like, you'd think you'd be able to at least change something, but nothing's changed.
Yeah,
I don't understand it, man. Haaland, I think, has officially earned the title of a luxury striker. Doesn't affect the game unless he's getting service. And I think that, last pod, we talked about how, he might go down in our generation as the best goal scorer of our generation, but that does not mean that he's the best player, the best striker, the most effective striker, whatever it may be. And it's just showing right, left, and center. I don't know. Like, I don't even know what City need. Like, it feels like they just need maybe a relegation or two to rebuild their squad and go drop down a couple leagues. That might be helpful to them. But I mean, they're out of the title race as well. I mean, really, at this point, it's Liverpool's to lose, and we're almost at Christmas. I feel like we can officially say that. But yeah, City's so far off of it.
Tell me I'm crazy here, that we have historically seen Pep be able to make the big decision. What I mean by that is, like, how many times have we seen Manchester City under Pep Guardiola play with a false 9, or play with Phil Foden as a false 9, or play with Kevin De Bruyne as a false 9 to try to switch things up and be able to combine and play? Like, he hasn't even tried that. He's consistently put Haaland out there, and consistently put him out there when he doesn't affect the game at all. He doesn't affect the game unless he's in the box and gets a ball to his feet. Like, that's what's crazy to me, is it's like, Pep's the genius, and he always will be. But the fact that, like, he hasn't even tried to play Foden as a false 9 to change things up and allow his wide players to get in space and behind with Foden checking it. Like, he hasn't changed anything.
Nothing.
And he's literally changed nothing. And that's the craziest thing to me, is just consistently watching this week in and week out, expecting that they're just going to click. And I think that I don't want to say that the title race is done for them, because if there's anybody that can go on a run of 15 to 20 games without a loss, it's them. But at the same time, they got to do business in January, or it's not going to get too much better for them.
I agree wholeheartedly.
It is weird. It's weird to think about, though. Like, we talked about it with United, of like, do you think that one signing is going to change the whole dynamic of the team? And I almost feel the same way with City. It's like, they could go out and sign Zubamendi, and he would kind of fulfill the Rodri role, maybe not to the levels, but like, is that going to change the motivation in the squad to where they're going to start playing better? Like, I just kind of feel like they're just kind of fucked.
I think, to me, it's honestly, obviously the quality of the player they bring in is important, but to me, it's almost just like, it sounds crazy, but it's like another body. You know what I mean? Like, every single player on the City team has played close to between 50 to 70 games over the past 3 or 4 seasons. And like, these are some older players now, to where even just the ability to slide into Zubamendi to give Gundo, 2 games off, 1 game off, not allow the young Rico Lewis to have to play there, or give a Kovacic a game off, and be able to rotate a little more. But now it's to the point where you almost have to see some sort of like Gundo, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, like midfield 3, or a Kovacic, and that is not an athletic midfield 3 at all, fellas. And in terms of playing against a team like Villa, it's just not going to work. But I do think if they bring in a Zubamendi, it allows them to just have extra bodies to play in there, because obviously Rodri's not coming back. So they just need somebody else that can fill in that role. And I don't think they've done a good enough job in recruitment to make sure that they're prepared for the situation if it did happen.
It is kind of funny to think about, though, like in some of these situations where there's a lot of injuries, or there's some newness that needs to be injected into the squad, you rely on like your academy, your younger guys. And I've seen stuff all over Twitter recently about like all of the players that City has sold in the City Academy underneath Pep. And just to name a few, you have Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers, Lavia, Sancho, Frimpong, Liam Delap, Jamie Bino-Gittins, Brahim Diaz, just to name a few. Those are all guys that you would probably take in that lineup right now. And you know how they do business. It's like they sell these players to get the bigger players, but I don't know, man. It feels like City is just at this, and I don't know, like, did they think that maybe these 115 charges would come to light before the season started, and then therefore they were kind of like, fuck it? It feels like an enigma right now because we haven't seen it under Pep ever in our lives, and it's just a weird thing.
I also think the double standards are crazy because if you saw something with Ten Hag where we were missing 14 players and people pretending like injuries shouldn't matter that much, and Pep is missing Rodri and maybe one or two from what would be their first 11 anyway, and nothing's changed. But it feels weird. But I'm also going to say that I'm loving every single second of it.
Oh yeah.
They've tortured all of us for like a half decade, if not more.
I thought you were saying at first that Pep was missing 14 players, and I was like, we're looking
at
a different roster. I was like, that's crazy.
But yeah, I found a Haaland stat. It's in his last 3 full games versus Juve, United, and Villa. Combined, he's completed 19 passes, hasn't scored, no assists, 0 dribbles completed, 0 key passes, 0 shots on target, 0 shots blocked, 0 shots, 0 long balls, 0 crosses, and 0 intersections.
It's insane. Brother, I'm putting up better numbers than that in indoor on Thursday.
Yeah, bro.
No, I'm saying.
That is crazy, man.
I will say Haaland has been the first person to admit that he needs to evolve and change his game. He's come out and sort of said that. But after you told Arteta to be humble and then you've kind of dropped stinker after, it's just, I love it.
Yeah, me too. All right, shifting gears here. We're going to talk a little bit about La Liga. We have, there was a huge game the other day. Atletico against Barcelona. Atletico won 2-1. They are now top of the league, 3 points clear, with a game in hand over Barcelona. Barcelona, like Dobes said earlier, has struggled recently. They have lost some games that you could maybe quote and say they should not have lost.
Very much so.
We got to give our flowers here. And I've always loved Simeone. I've always loved. First of all, I love his all black suits. Guy's a G, top G. Okay?
We know you love that.
He's a top G. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the black suit. But Simeone, man, has done wonders for this club, and they've never finished below 4th since he's been there. People don't understand that he's been at this club for almost 13 years.
Yep.
And they've never finished below 4th. And before he came in, they were finishing 10th, 7th, 8th, 9th. He has been unbelievable, a world-class coach. He's got them on trajectory this year. He reinforced his team. He brought in guys like Sorloth, a huge striker. He brought in the big signing, Julian Alvarez, who's been a star. He's got like 13 goals for them this year. Griezmann's still balling. Rodrigo de Paul's a dog. Conor Gallagher's playing really well for Atletico. Mm-hmm. They are a very good, well-oiled machine of a team, and we got to give them flowers. And they very well could do this thing. They could go win La Liga for the first time in 3 years. So
they are. I would absolutely hate playing against Diego Simeone. like if you watch that game, like you obviously could sit there and say that Barcelona as the overall better footballing side was clear by a long shot in terms of that game. But Simeone teams they have that way to fight for every single inch. And then if you add the quality and the players they have up front, like they're dangerous. And I don't want to sit here and say that I think they can do it because I still think if I had to pick today, I think Real Madrid's going to end up winning La Liga. But it would be very, very cool to see Griezmann get to win another one.
See, I think that it's going to come down to the wire because Real Madrid still have a ways to go in terms of consistency, but Atletico Madrid did not start off this season well. Like you think back to, I know it's not La Liga, but Champions League earlier in the season, they got battered a couple of times, huge losses, and they figured it out, you know? You mentioned those reinforcements that they brought in. I was watching the game over the weekend and I was looking at all 11 guys on the field and all of their bench players. I was like, I like just about every single one of these players. Like they are a bunch of dogs, but they're resilient. You know, if you watched the first half of that game, they were bad. You mentioned Rodrigo de Paul. It was one of the worst games I've ever watched him play. Specifically for Atletico Madrid, he was horrible in the first half. But then the mentality kicks in. You have no idea what Simeone says at halftime to those guys to get it right, because they came out in the second half and they were ready to go. They were ready. Sorloth has scored more goals coming off the bench than anyone else in Europe at the moment. He's looking like a player like we've known he has been for the last couple of years. But it's going to set up a really interesting last half of the year as all of their Champions League campaigns go even further, how the rotation goes. But you got to be a little bit concerned if you're Barcelona as well. Like they're letting some of these leads slip away in ways that they should. They should be shutting down these games. They should be finishing their chances and really just putting teams away like they were earlier in the year. They're not doing it. They're letting guys, letting teams hang in there. So they got some things to figure out. I don't really know what they're going to do to figure it out. They certainly can't bring anyone in January. They got to figure out how they can even register Tani Elmo. So otherwise that man is coming to Manchester United on a free. I'll tell you that much. But I will say, it's so good to see Pedri back at the top of his game. He, in that first half, was everywhere. There wasn't a single thing that Barcelona did that did not go through him. It was such an impressive display. He was so deserving of the goal that he got. And it's great to see Gavi and Pedri back on the same field, fully healthy and fully fit.
Yeah,
I will say that they miss Yamal like crazy.
Oh yeah.
He drastically changes the way that team ticks.
Yeah. And it's weird too, because he's one of
17.
Those. Yeah, he's so young, but he's one of those wingers that he takes the game to the other team, but he also waits for the game to come to him as well. He stays wide. He slows the game down sometimes. He has it, and he has the skill and the quality to do so. And, on the contrary, you have someone like Rafinha who is like, go, 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 go. And he's stepped up levels over the last 365 days. He's the leader of that team on and off the field. But yeah, it's funny to say that you're missing out on that 17-year-old kid, but you really are.
Yeah, wholeheartedly. Well, that's our quick recap on La Liga. Atletico Madrid, top of the league. Simeone's a dude, man. And I will say, last thing I'm going to add to that, Griezmann has never won La Liga with Atletico. Both times they won, he was not a part of the teams that year. He deserves one after all he's done for this sport and for the league and for us fans that love watching him play. He deserves it. So it would be cool to see him, if they hold out, win La Liga for the first time with Atletico Madrid. All right.
Also, before we wrap up on La Liga, if you want to just have yourself a nice little time, go watch the highlights from the Real Madrid game, and you'll see some bangers of goals. It was absurd. Mbappe's first goal and Valverde's first goal are just next level.
Bro, 6 worldies. That first one was nuts.
Insane. Yeah,
holy shit.
Insane.
But Valverde's not a stranger to a banger.
No, he's not.
He ain't a stranger to a banger, bro.
He only scores them. Scores bangers.
Hey, to wrap up tonight, I'm super pumped. We're going to have a Bucci Main blind ranking.
Yeah.
And
let's go.
I'm super excited because Dobes and Henry have to team up. I can't be involved. They have to use all their knowledge, their friendship, their brotherhood here, and they have to create this list from 1 to 10. 1 obviously being the number 1, 10 being the number 10, the lowest. You guys are going to blind rank the 10. I picked, in my opinion, 10 players that we have gotten to idolize, watch, and all of that. The 10 best Premier League players of all time.
Wow.
Yep. You have to rank them in order. And you guys can pick wherever you want to start, obviously, after I tell you the first name. I'm going to write everything down so we got it listed out. The
Manchester United boys. So biased.
Listen,
just remember, he saves some bullshit for the end. He
always does. I know.
Do not be too biased on it. I want you to be truthful on this list, okay?
Okay.
It's all at 10.
No. The first name I'm going to throw at you is Harry Kane. This is tough.
I don't think so. I think he's bottom half for sure.
Yeah. My first instinct was 9.
Yeah. I think that's one of those where what's the category again, Butchie? Like, say it specifically.
They're the best Premier League players of all time. But I would say that titles should be thought about here, and also
Okay.
impact on the
That
league.
was my
And
question.
obviously, the goals are there for Harry Kane, but did he have enough to put him in the top 5?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like he's been such a fun player. I mean, both of us are huge fans of him,
I love
watching
Harry
him,
Kane.
And his all around game. But I can for sure give you 9 guys that are better than him in the Premier League era that we've watched.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys want to go? What do you want to go? 9?
9.
I'll go 9.
I like it. All right, so Harry Kane's at the 9.
Hoove is rolling in his grave.
My next name for you is Frank Lampard. This is tough, bro. You two got it.
He's top 5 for me.
I think he could be our bar. I think he could be our 5.
5.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good pick.
Now,
I'm
listen. Does his managerial career affect his legacy in any way?
10.
10. Get him at the end.
Oh, that's so funny. You're going to go 5?
Yeah, 5, because I feel really confident in my feelings of better or worse than Frank Lampard.
I was going to say, I was just seeing if I could name 5 better players that I thought in my head, and I had at least 5.
No, I like it.
Yeah.
But you don't know if he's going to put him in here. That's the problem.
I know, but if he's saying he likes it, that means it's probably a good spot.
Okay.
Next one is Kevin De Bruyne.
Mm.
Tough.
See, I like watching Kevin De Bruyne more than I like watching Frank Lampard.
And he's also won more Premier Leagues than Frank Lampard.
Yeah. He's just scored way less goals.
But he has way more assists.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Dopes. He's pacing the room, bro. He's pacing the room. He doesn't know where to put him.
For me, he's 4. But that's me.
That's
Influence
so tough.
as well. I mean, influence on the league and what each player brought, like for us spectators, for us watchers of the games. Like,
yeah,
De Bruyne did get you off your seat with some of his passes over the years.
Still does.
Yeah, bro, but so did Frank Lampard, man.
I know his goals.
I get that.
I'm good with 4. I'm a little nervous for 4 though. I'll just say that I'm a little nervous for 4.
So you're gonna go 4?
Yeah.
Okay. KDB.
He's freaking out.
KDB is.
I just think, like, realistically speaking, over the last, man, I don't even know how far back we want to go, but because Kevin De Bruyne has been like after Frank Lampard. He was kind of like after that era.
Oh, didn't they play in the same team?
Technically.
Yeah, in that City team.
Yeah, but I mean that was at the twilight.
And Chelsea, I guess too.
Yeah. Yes, but Kevin De Bruyne is like prime and him being that guy. Dogs are interested now. I don't know if there's another central midfielder in the Premier League over the last 10 years that has.
I agree with that.
Like for me, like Kevin's been like literally levels above everyone. He's been like the best player in the Premier League for the last 10 years. I don't know.
I agree. I do think also you have to look at it from the standpoint of when you take and then you add titles and achievement. Like, yes, that Chelsea team with Lampard, they did lose to United in the Champions League final, which is great, but they did win some stuff too.
Okay. We got him at the 4 spot. My next name for you is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Ooh.
Remember, this is the 10 best players in the history of the goddamn league, bruh. We got a lot of big names on this list. You guys got to remember that. Where's Cristiano Ronaldo going?
I don't know where Dobes puts him because Dobes had the jerseys, he had the boots, he had everything.
I was out in the front patio with ankle weights on because Ronaldo used to wear ankle weights.
You also got to remember that Ronaldo Ronaldo.
I'm talking this out live right now. In my opinion, I think you put people like Thierry Henry's above him.
Yep.
In terms of just all out Premier League legends. I'd put Rooney above him. Let's think who else. You could add those of like a Vieira or a Key. I'm just trying to think of who Butchie may add.
Scholes.
Scholes is above him.
Mm-hmm. Like for me, he's lower, and that's because the majority of his career was elsewhere.
Yeah,
electric.
I think I'd probably put him outside the top 5. To be honest with you,
like if he's
6, 7, 8.
Yeah, so like, is he the best of the rest? The best of not the top 5?
Probably.
And my thing too, I know I can't participate, but people don't remember sometimes that Ronaldo had about 3 stellar years at United before he left for Real Madrid for a decade. He didn't do it for like 10 years.
No, it was short.
Like, it was a very short window where he was putting 40 goal season, 30 goal season, and then he was gone.
But I think the one thing we do have to consider is the last Premier League player to win the Ballon d'Or.
Yep.
True. No, Rodri now.
Oh, Rodri. So yeah, but still, that's
a long time.
Yeah, that's it.
What do you guys think? 6, 7, 8, 10?
I think 6. I mean, we're gonna be mad as hell at ourselves if he does give us some fucking.
I mean, he could be our number 7.
He throws in Patrice Evra or something.
I love the pun. I love that. 6 or 7. What are we doing?
And you can pick.
I'm gonna go 7.
Okay. CR7 at the 7. I love it. Your next name is David Beckham. Dude.
See, I want Kane at the 10, Beckham at the 9.
This is hard. David Beckham won a lot of titles. He wasn't a big goal scorer, right? But he won a lot of titles. And
okay. See, this is where this impact is the impact.
He revolutionized the name of the game here.
Yeah,
You got 6, you got 8, you got 10, 3, 2, 1. You got spots.
He doesn't make top 3 for me.
No.
That's a bold take, I would say.
Yeah.
But 6 and 8 are available.
My gut's saying 8.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to look up how many. He won 6 Premier League titles.
And like I said, he revolutionized the winger position with his
man.
crossing and his diagonals and his ability to just a ball on a dime on a sixpence.
I haven't stressed as hard about working.
But this is why we do these. They're fun. You guys got to think a little bit.
I'm good with 8. I'm good with 8.
And you like him at the 8?
Or do we put him at the 6 because Steven Gerrard can go into the 8 and then Salah can go into the 10?
Gerrard can go 10.
What? Whoa. Okay, now that's bias. That's just bias.
No,
bro.
It's not.
Hold on,
bro. No, it's not.
I think 8 because I think Ronaldo. I don't know, dude, but it's just it's individual ability or like you know what I mean. Achievement is Beckham clearly. Then you add the Ballon. You know what I mean. I think we put him at the 8.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're gonna go
tough.
8. Okay. Beckham is at the 8 spot.
He wouldn't have. I'm trying to think though. That's already 2. That's 2 United players. 2 United players, 1 Chelsea player, Tottenham player. So we got some Liverpool left.
Yeah.
My next name is Wayne Rooney.
2.
Yeah.
You guys got to pick on which one of those top 3 you're putting Wayne in, bro. Look at Dopes. He can't.
I mean, he's my all-time favorite player in the Premier League for sure.
He's the best. He's the best English player ever in the Premier League.
Yeah,
for sure, undoubtedly, for sure. He's better than Harry Kane.
Who would you put above him at 1?
I think the only person that I could like have the honest debate with is Thierry Henry, just in terms of like the overall impact on the position. But like I'd also be comfortable with like Rooney at the 1, just because not only like the records and the goal scoring and him coming onto the scene, but also just like personal sentiment. I mean, it's like my favorite player growing up for the long. I mean, like I have Wayne Rooney Everton jerseys, bro. Like on both ends of his career when he was a kid in his old man era. So I could go 1.
Here's what we should do. We both will have it on the record that if you're listening to this podcast, you know that we want him at number 1. He deserves to be number 1. But so that this is an unbiased list, I think we put him at 2.
Bingo. Cool.
All right. Rooney's going 2. That's a good
Just
pick.
ball knowledge, bro. Ball knowledge.
I'm not gonna cap. Your guys' list right now is pretty good.
Favoritism. He would be my number 1 by a long shot.
Same.
Okay. Your next name is Steven Gerrard.
10.
Bro, that's crazy.
What do we have? What do we have? We got 2.
I know. Hold on. I can't participate. You're right. I can't participate. I just namaste.
But what is
Namaste.
Give me the list, Butchie. What do we got?
Okay, right now you have Rooney at the 2, KDB at the 4, Lampard at the 5, Cristiano at the 7, Beckham at the 8, Kane at the 9.
So what spots do we have open? We have 1,
3, 6, 10.
I don't know. For me, 10. He didn't win anything. Like he won the championship.
Harry Kane, bro.
Dude,
that's crazy, bro. Look at Dubs. He knows too. Look at Dubs. He knows. Look at his face.
So here's the deal. Below Harry Kane, yes, but is Steven Gerrard better than what David Beckham was for United? No. Was he better than what Cristiano was for Manchester United? No. So, like, yes, there's the Harry Kane test, but there's also the guys ahead of that. Like, he can't sit in the 6. That can't be the role that he takes in this list.
He single-handedly won a Champions League in
But we're
Milan.
not talking about Champions League.
I know, but I'm saying like influence on like he didn't have the team that Beckham had.
Well, I mean, granted, he did win someone else a title by slipping. So, like, I guess
I was going to say he single-handedly lost the title too.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not going to say
anything. Do not fucking let this slip.
You guys pick what you want, and I'll mark it. You guys got it.
I kind of agree with Hen though, because I don't think you can go with the 6.
Nope.
I do think that the Kane one, we should have put Kane at 10. Because I do think Gerrard's better overall legend than Kane. And that's just me saying it, so it's on the record.
Too, but
right,
we
10,
can't.
10.
So
yeah, he's at the 10.
He's 10 for me.
Okay.
So now what do we have? 3 and 6? Or 1, 3, and 6?
1, 3, 6. And I got 3.
One Champions League ain't it?
No.
Okay. My next name for you is Paul Scholes. Dove's, hey, look at Dove. He doesn't want to put him at 3, bro.
Oh, he's 3? What are you talking about?
You're talking about Dove Skulls right now? What are we talking about?
Dove Skulls, bro. All right, so you both held up the number 3. That was fast.
Yeah, but Dobbs is going to fact check with his trophy cabinet here,
brother. I think he has like
9
titles.
No, he's 3. I literally just wanted to read all his trophies. Is all I wanted to do.
Go ahead.
Got, let's see. Oh my God, he's got 11 Premier Leagues. 11 Premier Leagues, 5 Community Shields, 3 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, 2 Champions Leagues, 1 Club World Cup, and 1 Intercontinental Cup. Dude, that's insane. 718 games played for Man United, 66 caps for England, 169 goals. Yeah, he's number 3.
He's a baller.
Yeah, he's number 3. Your midfielder's favorite midfielder.
Yeah.
Oh my God! All right, Scholes at 3. Dude, I didn't realize he won 11. Bro.
Dude, yeah, he
like
came
all
out
of
of
them did. Yeah.
He came out of retirement and almost did it again.
Oh my God!
You know that story of when he came out of retirement and he had to go get like boots at like basically like Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever. Yeah, because he didn't have them, which is so funny.
All right, I'm trying to show some love to all the big top like 5-6 teams in the league, and I know we haven't named one from this club, and Nick will kill me, but. The next name is Didier Drogba. Or I'm sorry, this would be the second one from that club.
He would be 10 for me.
Yeah, he would be 10 for me as well. So whatever is the lower. What do we have? 6?
You got 6.
God, that's such a brutal pick.
But let's pause for a second. Didier Drogba won.
He's got a few golden boots.
5 Premier League titles. Champions League, 4 FA Cups, 3 Football League Cups, 2 Community Shields. Bro, he won a lot, and he was for Chelsea alone, 100 Premier League goals and 225 appearances.
I mean, he's no slouch for sure.
That's not bad.
He's no slouch, but
I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm saying that he's not better than Beckham, Ronaldo.
yeah,
So we're gonna throw Drogba here.
unfortunately.
He's going to have to be.
God, this is going to be such a disaster if it's not Thierry Henry.
No,
Ugh.
last one is Thierry Henry.
Okay,
Yeah.
word. He's
So
going to be
number
one.
one.
Thank fuck you didn't say Mo Salah.
No.
It's like, you just changed it at the very end. You're like, it was going to be Thierry Henry,
No.
but the one spot's open.
This is a true list. Obviously, I left some names off because I left your Ryan Giggs off, even though he's a legend. I left Giggsy off. I left Vieira off. I just went for guys that we grew up watching a ton and guys that we've talked about a lot when we hang out.
Read our list. Read our list real quick. What's our list?
Honestly, you guys made a pretty damn good list. So in the 10 spot, you got Steven Gerrard. In the 9 spot, Harry Kane. In the 8 spot, David Beckham. 7 is CR7. In the 6 spot, Drogba. 5 is Lampard. The 4 spot is Kevin De Bruyne. The 3 spot is Scholesy. The 2 is Rooney, and the 1 is Henry. That's pretty
good.
Not bad.
That's pretty good.
Hey,
Not bad for a blind ranking.
For a blind
that's pretty
ranking,
good.
you two blokes killed it. Let me tell you.
That's
bro.
pretty
Ball
good.
knowledge.
You
Ball
killed
knowledge.
it. That's pretty damn good.
Gerrard's our 10.
That's still that. The only
Plan's
thing
going to lose his mind.
I would say Gerrard has to be above Kane. That's just crazy. But you didn't know, right? You didn't know. It is what it is. All right, hey, that's going to wrap up our episode tonight. As always, to all of our listeners, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Follow us on the socials. We've been making a lot of TikToks. Go check us out. We really appreciate you guys. Have a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.